This is a climb called Pure now and gets the grade of E96C, which in this specific case means tricky climbing with the potential for hurting yourself if something goes badly at the wrong place on the route. There's one move at the end of the hard section which if you fell on, you'd be really close to hitting the ground. It was first climbed by my friend Tom 10 years ago, and up until now has yet to see another ascent.
If you fall off on the top section, you're almost certainly gonna, I suppose, break your legs or neck or something not good.
The climb follows a famous route, Master's Edge, for most of the way, but instead of finishing on the glory hole of that route, it quests onto the face using smaller edges. The first time I sampled this arête was age 17 when I attempted to make a flash of Master's Edge. I was totally hooked by this piece of rock, and over the next 14 years I climbed the route in many different ways, firstly on its left hand side, but mostly in fancy dress with Tom once per year as a birthday celebration. As the years went by, things started to get a little out of hand, and we got more and more into character.
Jolly good show, Mallory, old chap. Good year. What do you fancy doing next year for the birthday? What? Can't hear you, old chap.
Some years got so bonkers we never even managed the route at all. Maybe this was my favourite year. More years passed and we actually even made it onto page 3 of the Sun newspaper. Nothing to be proud of in that, but hilarious for us nonetheless. And now, 15 years later, I'm left with a pretty good understanding of the climb, so it only seemed reasonable to try the second ascent of Tom's climb to complete the Master's Edge trilogy. On the first part I place a small piece before reversing to the ground and warming the hands. Then I go for it trying to climb as efficiently as possible and quick enough before the fingers get numb from the cold. The lower section of the climb has a few balance moves, but the meat of the climb really starts from the gear at mid-height. From here you place your final pieces and then set off to the top of the crag with no protection left on your harness to place. The initial moves on the arête are simple. It's only when you get to the right hand crimp that you have to make the decision of whether to jump off and bail or commit to the face outright. Once you commit, you can't reverse. The hardest moves on the climb are breaking away from the arête and for the next 5 meters of face climbing above. For most of this section you would be okay in a fall as long as the belay runs backwards and takes in the slack as you fall. final moves after this are easier, but incredibly bold. At this point there's no chance of your belayer saving you. And it is in fact better for them to pay out slack and not risk pulling you off, rather than trying to keep you off the ground.
Yee! Well done, feet!
Spicy. Nice. Cheers. Yeah, pretty numb by the top. They were good going through that crux, but then they numbed out. Okay, were they numbed out after the last hard bit? Yeah, after the last hard bit. Oh, cheers.